حاجيتك ما جيتك ودينا بعيد من هدي الدنيا حاجيتك ما جيتك كل واحد منا في قلبه حكاية كل واحد منا في قلبه حكاية احكي وانسى باللحن اكبر في بالك كل حنا صغار ونمنو كل حكاية حكيلنا عالجنة حكيلنا عالنار وعلى طير العمر ومطار فهمنا معنى الدنيا حاجيتك ما جيتك ودينا بعيد مدى الدنيا حاجيتك ما جيتك كل واحد منا في قلبه حكاية كل واحد منا في قلبه حكاية تن ترارارارارارارارا تن ترارارارارارارا تن ترارارارارارارا تن ترارارارارارارا ترارارارا.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today as we listen to and learn from Gazan stories. My name is Farah Aga, and I am the new Development and Outreach Associate here at American Friends of Combatants for Peace. And I'm so excited to have the opportunity to welcome you all today. I am originally from Gaza on my father's side, so I'm personally very thrilled that we are shining a spotlight on Gaza today. I will go ahead and introduce our wonderful speakers, starting with Ahmed Haneen. Ahmed has been an activist with Combatants for Peace for 8 years now, and for much of his life, he has been separated from most of his family in Gaza, including his 2 sisters and his mother. And just 3 weeks ago, he was able to see his family in Gaza for the first time in 31 years. Our next speaker is Haneen Abu Saud. She is an activist, an Arabic teacher, a chef, and a contributing writer at We Are Not Numbers. She is originally from Gaza and was able to leave 2 years ago, but she left behind her 2 young children in order to build a better life for her family. Ahmed and Haneen, we are so grateful to you two for being with us today. And lastly, I would like to introduce our brilliant Palestinian director, Rana Salman, who will be moderating the discussion today. And last thing, just a couple of reminders before we get started to please keep yourself muted and to direct any of your questions to the chat. We will be having a question and answer section later, so please feel free to pose any questions that you may have in the chat. So thank you everybody for joining us again, and Jana, I'll hand things over to you.
Thank you, Farah. Welcome again, everyone, to this webinar of Voices from Gaza. We're delighted that so many of you have signed up to be with us today. Many of you are joining, and I think we have over 200 participants as I speak. We hope in this meeting we will learn more about life in Gaza. We take this moment to be thankful that there has been a ceasefire after 11 days of intense conflict. Let us think of the people who lost so much in this recent war as we go forward. Get yourself settled and we will be ready to start in a second. Our panelists today will be 2 amazing activists, Ahmed Haneen and Haneen Abu Saud. Thank you for being with us today. Let me remind you before we continue that today's webinar will be recorded and will be available to see afterwards. And beyond that, I want to let you know that we will take questions from you, and please put all your questions into the chat box directed towards the host, Combatants for Peace. Ahmed, thank you for joining us today. We're delighted to have you. I will start with you. Can you please share your story and your background with the audience?
Thank you so much, Rana. Thank you so much, Farah. I'm Ahmed from Al Hilw family. I born and grew up in Jericho. Actually, I'm from Gaza. My family, it's one of like biggest family in Gaza. I think it's fourth or fifth biggest family in Gaza. During the conflict, I lost more than 63 members from my family. They killed from the Israeli army. Many also buildings destroyed in all the war or the attacks in Gaza. In Gaza, I have, as Farah said, I have two sisters, and my sister became grandmothers. At last, I succeed to see my nephew, my nieces, after 31 years without physical connections between me and them. My wife, she's from Gaza too. She born and grew up in Gaza. Her family is still now in Gaza. So my mother-in-law, my sister, my brother-in-law, also in Gaza too. I grew up in Jericho, as I said, with my grandparents, and my father's stories about in Nakba, how they come to Jericho, what they facing during the way from from Gaza and to Jericho. And actually, there were in Beersheba when the war started in 48, and they tried to go back to Gaza, but they succeed to come to Jericho. Because of these stories in War 48 and also the Naksa War 67, and what I hear from my father, how he and his family ran away to Jordan and come back. They passed the river, and what they sawing from them away from them travels or moved or running from the shootings. Horrible things, and that make me hate the Jewish general, not just the Israelis, all the Jews. So because of that, when the first Intifada started, I decided to be active, and I involved with Hamas. With Hamas, I started throw stones, make Palestinian flags, make demonstration against the army, the Israelis. Because of that, also they catch me, and I go to the prison, to the jail. I stay 7 months in the Israeli jail. After I go out from the jail, I start thinking about the different way. And I got a chance in 2004 to meet Israelis or to participate in workshop with Israelis in Givat Habiba. And I was 4 days, in these 4 days, really change my mind. But before 2004, I forget to remind in 1996 when Netanyahu himself take a decision to open tunnel under Al-Aqsa. The Palestinians became angry and they go to the street against this active. And at that time, I was volunteer in ambulance service. So I went with the ambulance service to give a hand to my friends or to anyone who's need in December 96. So in this demonstration, I saw a guy fell down near the fence of the settlement, which called Delisha. It was in Jericho. So I ran to give hand out to check what's happened with him. So I found he's a friend of mine and he got a shot from the Israeli army. So I carry him in my hand to take him to the ambulance. In my way, I fell down. I tried to walk up and to continue my move, but I cannot. So the people and youngs around me, they start shouting, injured, and they carry me. So in hospital, I stayed 3 days in coma, yeah, and they told me I got a shot from my back, moved to my neck, and stay in my neck till now. So the doctors thought that I will be paralyzed. After also I go out from the jail, I asked my family what's happened. They told me there is 3 guys got a shot and killed in the same demonstration. Most of them friends of mine. So Firas Awajne, Fadi Atiyah, and Ziyad Sharif. So I visit the cemetery to visit them graves. And I found 4 graves, 3 to them, and the 4th is empty. I asked why it's empty. My brother told me, we prepared it to you because we thought that you will die. So I continue my life till 2004 when I met Israelis, and I start to thinking different way how to can continue my fight without violence. And I found the way. I found the way with relationship, with non-violence communication, with non-violence struggles. And I participate with many workshops, many organization till I found the competence for peace, and they give me a chance to be a member and to work with them till now. This is my my personal story. Yeah, and I'm really, as I worry about my friends, my family in Gaza, and what happened in the last 11 days, and about the attacks, terrible attacks, and awful situation. Also, I'm worried about our friends everywhere. They don't get harm or to get injured too. So this is message to all of us to pray yeah, to stop this conflict, to stop this violence, to stop this attack, and to not have another war against Gaza and another war in our urgent, yeah, our منطقة, our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed, for sharing. I'm sure it was a difficult time also for your family during this recent war. Were you able to contact your family like during the past days, or because we know it was difficult for us to have someone from Gaza like to be with us on this webinar because there's no electricity at the moment, no internet in Gaza. So it's really difficult to stay in touch. How was it for your family?
Yeah, for sure, it is not easy to be in touch with them. So I always try to call them, to call my mom, to call my sister, to check about them if they're still in alive, not if they still fine or okay. No, just in alive and still live in the same houses, because my sister told me that my aunt, she's live in Shijaiya neighborhood. So in the first of the war, she ran away and she came to my sister home and stay a few days, and they were sleeping in a corridor because there is no windows and it's the safety place in home. And they told me also, like my mom told me, in each bomb, in each rocket against Gaza, her أحفادها, grandchildren, grandchildren hold her because she feels scared and feel scared. So it's not easy to live in Gaza, not easy to be a Gazian guy, not easy to live in the war. It's a war. It's a war. And when I was there too, I make around. I stay 48 hours, just 48 hours after 31 years without physical touch.
Yeah, you said you haven't seen your family for 31 years. Why couldn't you visit them before?
Because the Israeli don't give us a permit. And if I wanna go to Gaza, I need a permit to visit. And the Israeli don't give us, just for two reasons. One, the first reason, if there is anyone died for death visits. The second reason, if he will die, that means sick so much, and he's in the bed, he's dying. So I got this permit because my sister has a council and they need to make sergeant military. Yeah, so we got 48, and what I saw, that broke my heart, broke my soul. I saw people without soul, without love, without hope, really, without hope. People, they have everything, a beautiful beach, but it's empty. There is no soul. Beautiful building, people make sport. People, they went to coffee shops to smoke argila. Boys, girls, all together. There is life without life. Really, life without life.
Yeah, it's more like a survival kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, Ahmed, thank you so much for sharing your story. I encourage everyone who has questions for Ahmed to send it also to the chat box, and we will get back to the questions. Before we move forward, I would ask you just to take a moment to breathe in what we have listened, like what Ahmed has shared with us, his personal story. Haneen, I will go to you. Would you be willing to share your personal story as someone from Gaza and who experienced life there? Can you share a little bit of your background?
Thank you, Rana. First, thank you for having me here for Covenants for Peace. I would just start where I am in the current, and then I would take you into my background. In the past 2 weeks, it was quite turbulent time for me, and still until today, even that the war is over, but still all my system is going through the shivering, and the trauma is triggered, and all the fear and the survival mood, it's all of it is running still in my system, just like I was living there. So bear with me, because I am in this and as well sharing, opening to you. So I ask you kindly to open your hearts and to open, to listen, to understand, because once we can relate to a story of a person, we can understand immediately. And so my background, I am a Palestinian that was born and raised in Gaza city. I left Gaza 2 years ago. I left to make a better life for me and my family. Me and my husband had to make this hard decision of me leaving him and 2 kids behind, and also my whole family, my siblings, my mother and my father, to start a new life, to start a new step in my life, to give my children a safer life, a better life. And safety, most of all, safety and possibilities. I think this is something that we all understand and demand in our lives, safety and possibilities. I left October 2018, and ever since I left, I haven't been able to come back to Gaza, because Gaza is under siege and all the borders are closed. So it wasn't also possible to come and visit my children, even to see them and come back. So I was living all of this away from them. And it was challenging. It was a path full of support as well, full of support of friends and activists and Portuguese people. But it was as well full of challenges as well to leave my kids behind. And when I left to Portugal. I think I didn't mention that. I left from Palestine, Gaza to Portugal. And since 2 years, I'm living now in Portugal. And what I do is I am an Arabic teacher. I teach Arabic language, Palestinian dialect for international groups. And I am a chef, a cook, vegan. I cook vegan Arabic food. I do events here in Portugal, and sometimes I do online classes. And I'm a contribute writer in We Are Not Numbers. We Are Not Numbers is a youth association that was established after 2014 war on Gaza. That was the main reason behind it, is to show the stories of the humans in Gaza, the youth of Gaza, to help them to raise your voice to the international communities, to the Israeli community, to the Arab community, to everyone who's interested to hear about the human story. And basically they give the voice to the youth to raise their voice and speak up and share their writings. And when I say I'm an activist, this is my way of activism. I sing, I write, I make events, I cook. I like events that brings life and the humanness. And that's what that's what I try to do, even here in Portugal. That's what I try to do. Because I come from a community, like in Palestine, we live so much this communal life together, and there's always events and family events and people coming together for food. And I try to put all of that from my culture to what came in my path together, and somehow put the new and the old in a way together. Like not to say, the new and then the old doesn't work. It's all connected somehow. It's part of me.
Haneen, just a quick question. You left Gaza just like 2 years ago, and you left your children behind. You lived in Gaza for a long time. Can you share a little bit how your life was like in Gaza and how you experienced, maybe you experienced also the previous war in 2014, if you can share also about that.
So I survived 3 wars, the one in 2008 and the one in 2012 and the one in 2014. And the one in 2014, I already had my daughter with me. So it was very scary that to have your own child in your arms and not knowing where to go and how to protect your child. This was one of the most existential questions. How do I protect my child in all of this human made madness? But background of my life in Gaza, like I think just like any other youth, trying to give the voice of my struggle into the world and try to tell my story. I was, after 2014, I started to contribute writing in We Are Not Numbers, and I was translating for journalists, and I grew up in a family of 10 people. Like I have 9 siblings and my mom and my dad. So we grow up to be a big family. And in every war, we had to escape and evacuate the house. And we were not able to come back until the war or the aggression calms down a little bit. And what my mom always told me, like in these times of war, when we were hiding in the shelves in the kitchen, I remember I was holding my sister's hand. That was back in 2008. And she was telling us, just keep praying, just keep connecting with the higher, with the higher, with the God, with the divine, with whatever that you see higher than you and me and this bomb and this soldier in the airplane. Connect with something that is much, much higher than all of us, and keep praying, and believe that you will be safe. And this always stays with me in all life situations. Keep thinking in something that is the higher and connect with it on the reality level. And it can keep you grounded somehow in your ground. It can keep you standing still somehow. Yeah.
Haneen, when you left Gaza, why didn't you take your husband and your children with you? What happened?
So there was only one invitation. There was only one opportunity, which is me coming to an event, a workshop about writers, for writers. And it was only one invitation. So this is why I said it was a hard decision. It was either to turn the opportunity away and stay in Gaza and keep seeking ways to go out together, or to go for it, knowing that it will take a while, but we went for it. I guess I didn't know it will take that long. So that's why I went for it. Yeah.
Okay, so was it easy, like doing the paperwork, like to leave Gaza, or how was it?
No, not at all. It was it was very, very complicated. Even when I had an invitation to Europe to come to Portugal for a workshop, I had to wait like 2 months in Egypt and be in Egypt to wait for an approval of my visa. And now I have been in a process of 2.5 years to make the family reunification. And now I'm in the last breath of my process and my family process, which is that they are now in Egypt. They have been out of Gaza just right before the war, the last one, the last aggression on Gaza. They were out just before it. And we were wondering like, why did they left Gaza? They should have stayed. But actually now I know why they left Gaza, because they were going to be protected from all of this, from another trauma for them. But it was a long marathon of making papers, tons of papers, and going into the Portuguese system, doing all kind of stuff that can make you be like the good citizen who is able to sustain herself and sustain her family and do what it takes to earn this family reunification. And it's still a struggle. I still didn't have it. Like we had the approval, but they're not yet here. They are still waiting in Egypt to get their visas.
Yeah, I hope you get united with your family really soon. We're having some questions from the audience. Thank you, Haneen, for sharing. I have a question also for you. Is it really Hamas that is preventing the people of Gaza from living their lives? Since you have been under this political party for a long time, what do you as a Gazan think of the Hamas charter that says something like death to all Jews? And is it that a myth or is that real? Can you share with our audience?
For a start, I can say that we definitely they don't chant death for all Jews, because we all have this awareness, and even we learn it at school, to have this awareness to separate between the Jewish, which is the religion, and the Zionists who are making this, or the people who are creating the war or bombing Gaza or doing all of this. But for example, if you want to say if Hamas is preventing life from running normally, I would question that, because I feel it's a complex situation, because in one hand we have the occupation. This is the first ceiling of the whole situation in Gaza, because the siege in Gaza, we have been having siege for years and years of the siege, and it was all because of the occupation. It wasn't Hamas who closed the border. It wasn't them who stopped the goods from coming in Gaza. It wasn't them who stopped the fuel from coming to Gaza. It wasn't them who complex the trading industry or any kind of thing that can stop the normal life in Gaza. So if we're speaking about normal life, but as well, of course, there are things in Hamas that as well I cannot agree with, of course. Like for example, because we want unity as well. Like Fatah and Hamas are a bit separate, like they are separated and they're farther away from each other. So I think Hamas' rule would be to start making unity with the Ramallah Authority. And I think from there, when we have unity, we can start to make steps more further to bring peace. But this is my own perspective as Haneen. But I don't think it's Hamas that's causing all of this for the Gazans. Not at all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ahmed, what do you think most of Gazans' feelings and connection to Hamas and the missiles that they are shooting? What do most Gazans feel about Hamas? Do they feel that they are their only hope, or do they feel that they need a government that is non-violent?
When I was in Gaza, for sure, I normally met people from Hamas, and they working with Hamas because there is no work. To survive, you must work. So there is Hamas or nothing. So they working in Hamas, and they tell me, really, they told me that, and they give me a message and to send it to West Bank. Please don't ask Hamas to start or to make a war or to shoot rockets. So people there in Gaza also, they don't want war. They don't want, even Hamas, even Izzuddin al-Qassam, no one want that. But what they can do? What they can do? Nothing. Israel, like, close the air, close the ground, close the sea. They put them in a small jail. They don't have any chance just to die, just to die. So what can they do? To wait for die? Okay, I'm for sure, I'm against violence. I'm against the rockets. I'm not with Hamas, but we need to thinking in a logical way. These people, 2 million, 3 million and a half, put it in area, Jericho, bigger than it. Jericho city, bigger than it. So how can they survive? If Israel gives them the right to move, the right to work, and open the borders, I'm sure no one will stay working with Hamas. Everyone will take care about his work and his family too.
Yeah, we had a question that many Palestinians in Gaza do not support Hamas. Do you think there would be an election where it would be a viable alternative to Hamas, like an election? Or?
Yeah, for sure, because they, listen, to be more understand also, they against the jail, they against the closer, they don't want be in a prison. They want then freedom. So they will not vote to Hamas. They will vote to any party guarantee them to open Gaza. Partner.
Thank you, Ahmed. Please, I encourage you all also to continue sending your questions to the chat to Competence for Peace. One of the questions for you, Haneen, some people heard that there is a media censorship so that the world can't hear what is going on in daily life in Gaza. Is that true?
As a matter of fact, yes. I was recently translating a video that an influencer made about how the social media themselves, like Instagram and Facebook, sometimes delete content of what people publish. Sometimes they block what they publish as well. And there has been a lot of social media protest about this. Like, they were publishing a lot and complaining a lot about it, and they have been putting low rates on Facebook and Instagram, and especially the influencers who have been opening live in connection with Gaza, with what is happening. And one of the biggest things that happened in the last aggression was to bomb the whole building that has all the media agencies' offices. And it was all bombed, and this way the internet connection was really affected. And ever since, it has been very bad. Like, for example, when I speak to my family now, I cannot reach out. They have to go out somewhere in an office or somewhere to someone's internet connection to write me something that they're good, everything is okay. So yeah, there has been definitely restrictions about publishing the content of what was happening and the connection with Gaza to the world.
Thank you, Haneen. Ahmed, since you have visited Gaza just recently, how much do Gazans pay attention to what is happening in Sheikh Jarrah, Haram al-Sharif, and elsewhere in Jerusalem? How much do they pay attention to what the Israeli occupation does in the West Bank?
For sure, as Palestinian, all the Palestinians has big attention for what happened in Al-Aqsa and in Sheikh Jarrah. Not just Gazian people, Jericho people. So you cannot separate between West Bank and Gaza in this. So all of us have the same feeling. All of us have the same emotions to Sheikh Jarrah and Al-Aqsa. And really, most of people which I've met in Gaza, from my family too, they wish, they dream just to visit Al-Quds, to visit Jerusalem, to pray in Al-Aqsa. Have all of them have impossible, we can say impossible dream, just to be in Jerusalem, to smell the air there. There is no chance, I think, to them in this situation. So they really, people in Gaza running to the election and hope to make the election today or yesterday, not today.
So you think Hamas would ever allow an open election in Gaza?
It's not about Hamas, it's about Israel. It's about Israel. Israel stopped the election, not Hamas. Hamas involved, Hamas agree. But Israel don't allow to make the election in our capital. And how can we make the election without make it in our capital? It's impossible.
Okay. Haneen, since you now also live in Europe, in Portugal, just a question for you. How important is European and US aid to being able to live in Gaza? Are people in Gaza satisfied with the Palestinian leadership in Gaza and in the West Bank?
You mean the people in Gaza, or what does it have to do with Europe? I didn't understand for the question.
Like Gaza receive aid from Europe and from the US. Are the people in Gaza satisfied with this, with their leadership and how they are handling this support coming from Europe and the US?
I can speak for what I know, yeah? I cannot speak for the whole situation. But from what I know, that all the support, all the aid that come from Europe and the US, they are normally invested in supporting of rebuilding the houses of people that was demolished in the war, and to support people to provide food for their family. So they make a lot of initiations, like to support families to be able to have their basic needs for the time after war. And I know that they help also people to get medical assistance when they need, because there's many people injured, and they have all kind of the effects of the war, like the bullets, like the I forgot the word, shadaya. What is the word shadaya? It's something that is what? Okay. Anyway, the word I forgot the meaning of the word. So yeah, they support them with the medical aid to building the houses, and they support them to get food provided for their families. And I think it's a good job, and I'm very grateful for all these organizations that immediately rushes to help and support the people in Gaza. But there it leads me with a question, which is, will we always be like rushing to help the Gazans instead of putting an end to the situation? Because it's a humanitarian crisis happening there. And I believe that it should be humanitarian boundaries putting into the situation instead of allowing it and then putting a lot of aid and support and money. And people want safety of their life. This is what people want. If you ask a child, they say, I just want to play. I just want to celebrate Eid. I couldn't celebrate Eid. So this is what I know from my friends.
Thank you, Haneen. As we just recently seen, like the ceasefire happened with the help of mediation of Egypt. Ahmed, are there any ways in which Egypt provides any support or help people in Gaza? Ahmed, can you hear me? Ahmed, you're on mute, I think.
Yeah, sorry. Something happened. I wish that really can Egypt help people in Gaza, and really it's so important because Gaza there is no like a gate to the world just through Egypt. And it's very, very, very important right now, and it's very necessary too, because a lot of medicines they need a lot of medicines. There is no good treatment in Gaza, and they wait to have all this medical treatment. Yeah, so I hope really Egypt can help them and succeed, but for sure it's up to Israel. It's up to Israel. Everything enter to Gaza, Israel control it.
Yeah, you just mentioned that Israel controls almost everything. Can you also elaborate what you meant when you said that Israel stopped the elections, like also in the capital, like in Jerusalem?
When Israel don't allow to make election in Jerusalem, that means Israel stop the election in Palestine. When Israel arrest most of Hamas parties, or what's called it, the people who running to elections in Hamas movement or in Hamas party. So what does mean? So that means Israel don't want election. Israel want to broke election. Israel will stop the election.
Thanks, Ahmed. Haneen, a question for you. What steps can be taken from Gaza to start to create some reconciliation with Israel? Are people raised in Gaza to hate Israelis? If so, how can reconciliation be possible?
What a question. As a mother, I can assure you that I don't raise my children for hate. I can assure you, and any mother in Gaza does not raise her children to say hate. We raise their awareness about the situation, yes, because they are going through it directly, because they are receiving the harm directly. But otherwise, I wish I can put my children in a box that they don't hear any bombing, that they don't hear any Israel or occupation or all of that, but because they are going through it directly. But to answer your question, as a start, I feel it needs to come from Israel first, the reconciliation, the healing, the belief in peace. We are wounded, we are traumatized. We have been through a lot, and this needs to be acknowledged. And I think people in Gaza, they want peace. If I ask my uncle, he would say, of course, I want peace. In the end, can't we all live together? My daughter was asking me the same thing. Why can't we live together? Why can't we just live together in peace? And I believe that many Gazans have the same question. Why can't we live together in peace? Why are they bombing us? Why is it like this, the situation that is happening this way? And I don't know if this, if this answers the question, but as concrete steps, I feel it needs to be starting from Israel, international community, to bring in support and healing. And as well, I believe as well, we have a role as Palestinians in peace, of course, but we need to see that the world sees our pain, our trauma, our suffering too. And I think when all of this constellation of things come together, then there's definitely steps and belief for peace and a better life for all of us.
Ahmed, what about you? Would Gazans agree to live in peace with Israel? What do you think?
You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. You asked me about Gazian people or Gaza?
The people in Gaza, would they agree to live in peace with Israel at some point?
I'm sure 100%. Really, 100%. I'm sure in that. Most of people in Gaza agree to live in peace if they give them rights, full rights, as a human rights, not anything more. To live as a human in them city, they agree to make relationship with Israel. Look, before the first Intifada, and during from the like 94 till 2000, I think. Yes, the relationship, everything. A lot of peoples came from Gaza to West Bank to Israel, workers, investments, a lot. Many Israelis were used the airport in Gaza. They travel through Gazan airport, not Ben Gurion. Many Israelis. So the life, if the life it's easy, if they have the right, the human rights, for sure, no one No one will thinking to make violence or to broke his life. No way, no.
Yes. Haneen, do you have any family in the West Bank? Or...
No, I don't.
Okay, I just want to ask, what is the relationship of the residents in Gaza to those in the West Bank, if you know anyone? Can there be a unified Palestinian leadership that could negotiate peace if there was a good faith partner in Israel?
Yes, yes, I believe there is, yes. And I think there's already some youth associations cooperating on that level from the West Bank and Gaza. Like in We Are Not Numbers, we have writers from the West Bank. We have, so there is connection, and they attend to Zoom meetings, so we have connections with them. I have many friends in Ramallah and the West Bank, but I don't have family. But I do believe that yes, if there was leadership from both sides that take charge of the situation, I would say mainly young women and men, and I would say women as well, because they have a different perspective of how to bring the peace into the situation, into the table somehow. Many people were in these times of war, they were saying, if only women led, this wouldn't have happened. Like if women have led the situation is in Israel and in Palestine, this wouldn't have happened probably. Yeah.
Okay. Ahmad, since you are an ex-fighter, let's say, there is a question that asks, is it true that most of the fighters on both sides are ages 16 to 20? And how can we reach them? Since you know you have had this transformation, like you were part of Hamas and this violent resistance, and you changed to this non-violent communication and this path. How do you think we can reach this younger generation who's involved in this as fighters on this side?
How can we reach them now?
Yeah, like the younger generation, like ages 16, 20, who could be involved now in violent resistance or on both sides, or joining the army, for example.
To be honest, it's very hard in this fucking situation to reach them, because this situation take them to the violence in both sides. In both sides, I'm really it's broke my heart, and I'm very sad when I said that the violence brings violence. Bad situation bring worst. If we need to reach to this youth, we must give them a better life, to make to them good situation, safety country, give them human rights, to build good youth and to bring them to the peace side. My son, he's 18 years old. Musa, he's 18 years old. He's good, not just good, he's excellent in school. I take him many times with me in competence activities. I host many Israelis in my home, so he met Jewish people. But to be honest, in Gaza war, in the last Gaza war, in this one, he started to thinking in different way. And he wanna to be also, he wanna go to the street and to start throw stones. But for sure, I sit with him and I start talk with him something different. And he said, so because I believe in non-violence, I catch my son and control him. But when he go to the street, when he go to his school or to his sport club, I don't even know who will meet and which kind of people will talk with him. So it's up to the situation itself. We need really, we're working very hard to make good future, good situation to our kids, to our children. We try hard, we work hardly, very hardly. But Netanyahu, in one decision, he bombing the war just to stay in his church, to be control in government. He ran to the war, not because war, not because it's needs, no, because it's private needs. Because he wanna stay. It's a politic thing to him. So he's breaking our life, breaking our children, because what he needs.
Ahmed, some people are wondering what brought you to stop fighting militarily and join combatants for peace. Can you share a little bit how, when you met your first Israelis?
Before that, when I was in a jail, Oslo start when I was in a jail, and my father came to visit me. I was in Megiddo, and I asked him what's happened. He told me that there is agreement between Palestinians and Israelis, PLO and Israel government, and we will have the Palestinian state. The Palestinian flags became legal, and the Palestinians go to the streets, start shake hands with the Israeli soldiers. To be honest, in that time, this story shocked me, but I went to the tent and start thinking about this, about the agreement, about what happened, why it's happened, and how it's happened. Like one day before the peace agreement, the Israel army or the Jewish were enemies. The Palestinian flags were illegal. One day after, they became friends, and Palestinian flags became legal. So there is a way, not violence way. There is a different way we can reach to our aim, to our goal as a Palestinians. These things, take it and put it somewhere here in my mind. And when I got a chance, the second time, when I get a chance to participate in the workshop in Givat Habiba in 2004, also to be honest, I went not to talk, not to conversation, not to make a relationship. No, I went to fight. I went to fight, to meet my enemy and to try to fight them, not physicals, but in what's called it في المحادثات in
talking, dialogue.
Talking, dialogue, yeah. So first day, really, I never talk with anyone. Just I be alone and walk in the Givat Habiba in kibbutz. Second time, I start sharing because we eat together, we sleep in the same, we sharing room also. The third day, I start talk with them and make a conversation and dialogue with them. The fourth day, we start sharing and exchange our Facebook accounts and phone numbers and become a friend. I remember in the last night, we were 35 participants, Palestinians and Israelis. And I brought with me an argila. So I went with my Israeli friend outside. We brought some drinks and we make argila. So the 35 participants smoke from the same nargila and we drank all together. So it was really, I can say a human party. We forget the religion, we forget the national, we forget the language. We look to each other as a human. And we collect like ourselves as a human. That's make me more interesting to meet people, to understand or to looking for some workshops to learn more about the Israeli society. And that's what happened. After that, I start participate in workshops and meet Israelis and make relationship with the Israelis till I became really 100% convinced about the non-violence activities and became a non-violence member.
Haneen, you've got a question from an Israeli. Do you consider speaking to Israelis as normalization or not?
No, I don't consider it normalization because I have many Israelis friends who are activists, and I am part of a group with women, Israeli women, Palestinian women who are doing this dreaming work to dream peace for the land. And I'm very honored to be actually part of this group. But as well, I can say there's levels, there's different, like there's a level where this Israeli in front of you that sees your pain and acknowledges you with your pain, with what you're going through. And as well, I see what they're going through too. So if we both can see each other's pain, then there can be a base where we can both stand on and build something on. But for sure, I cannot, to be honest, I'm living here in the south of Portugal, and it's not every Israeli I speak to. It's not every Israeli that I'm friendly, making contact. I need to see, I need to feel safe in the contact first, to be able and understand what is the connection would be about. And then from there, we can continue. This would be.
Thank you. Haneen, some people are wondering about your personal beliefs, what brings you hope, and why are you personally dedicated to nonviolence and peace? Also, you too, Ahmed.
I can say for what brings hope, because we are so much, how to say it? Like, I survived 3 wars, yeah? And in living in Gaza, you live in a survival mode. Survival mode means to stay in belief in life, to stay and in love with life, and to live life with all what it brings. This was one of my biggest lessons of my life, of my hope, that I carry with me. It's in my system. But what brings me hope into the situation is the belief of God, believing that something is higher, something is stronger than all of us, something knows what is going on, something will move things forward into the right places. The belief that things fall into the right place in the right time. Just this belief, it helps me to carry through a lot of things in my life. And regarding the nonviolent communication, because I learned it, I was in my life in living under the war, I had to stay in belief with the nonviolent communication. I had to stay because I said, I don't want to die. So let's have a talk. Let's talk. I don't want to die. I don't want you to bomb me. I'm willing to have a conversation. So from there comes aspect of believing in the nonviolent communication. That we can talk. We can recognize each other with all of what we carry. We can talk, we can make peace.
Thank you, Haneen. Ahmed, for you, I'm sure you support nonviolence means now to end this conflict. Can you personally share what are you doing to end this conflict on a personal level?
I'm talking with you and hearing. Really, I'm working very hard to convince people that we are a human, and I'm sharing with them many questions like who are we, what we are, why we are here, and what we can do here. And I like to share this story with all people here. It's let us thinking in this way. If we are agree in like a choosing people, and we agree that this land it's to Bani Israel or Israel land. Okay, who is Israel? Yaakov. Yaakov, he has 12. His tribes live here, and they grow up. Some of them leave this land. Some of them stay for many years. Musa came, they became Jewish. Jesus came, some of them, they became Christian, and they have or they keep the same DNA, which we believe about the choosing people to live in this land. Muhammad came, some of them became Muslims too, and they keeping the same DNA. So we share the history together. We share the culture together. We share the land too. We stay in this land. We keep this land as God asked us. So not because I speak Arabic and I'm Muslim or I'm Christian, I don't have a right to live here. No. No. If anyone said it is for Bani Israel, Okay, let's make DNA check, DNA test. And I'm sure 100% I have the same DNA with Yaakov, with Abraham. So I have the same. I have the same right. Sorry, not who live outside. I keep this land as God asked Bani Israel to keep this. So I'm working. I'm start make good relationship to understand that. Don't hate me because my language. Don't hate me because my religion. Come to me and talk. You will find me a peaceful guy with open arm, with open heart. Don't tell this guy it's enemy or he hate me. No, come to talk with me, to sit with me. Not because don't make the media control you. Don't make the orthodox guys or extreme guys control you. We are human. And we can live together and we can talk, we can share. I host many Israelis, many Jewish.
Ahmed,
I host, yes.
what's it going to take to get the Israelis to stop evicting Palestinians?
To stop what?
To stop the Israelis from evicting Palestinians from their homes.
يعني يبطلوا تهجير الناس من بيوتهم من اللي بالحي يعني.
مش فاهم السؤال أنا
بسأل إيش ممكن يصير حتى إنه يوقفوا يخلوا الناس من بيوتهم مثل اللي عم بيصير في الشيخ جراح.
إيش راح يصير؟
If Ahmed can't, because I'm a Palestinian also.
I would just ask you all to send your questions to the chat box. Please keep your microphones on mute. And if you have any questions, just send them to the chat box and we will make sure to give the question to Ahmed. Ahmed, somebody was asking about what's going on now in Sheikh Jarrah. What could we do to stop Israel from evicting families from their homes?
Really, it's very hard question, and I don't know. We must like stop. We try to ask the government to stop these things and to don't do it. But how? For me, I don't have any like answered or any solution.
Ahmed, I know that you recently was part of a demonstration against what's happening in Sheikh Jarrah and against the war on Gaza, and you even got arrested personally for being part of this demonstration. So this is one of the things that people were able to do, is protesting and taking also legal procedures against the procedures that, or the Israeli system that is taking place that is against the international law. So this is one of the means that we also at Competence for Peace are taking these procedures and demonstrating against what's happening. Personally, we don't have much time, but if you want to stay involved, you can continue sending us questions and we will be happy to stay in touch. Some people are asking how we can be helped, like for the international community. Maybe Farah, you have an idea how our audience can help?
Definitely. Thank you, Jonah. I can definitely suggest a few ideas, but I just want to start off by thanking Ahmed and Haneen for sharing with us today. I am very grateful for the opportunity to have learned from you both, as I imagine many people listening are. And thank you, Rana, for your amazing moderating, as always. And lastly, thank you to everybody who tuned in. We are so grateful to you for spending your Sunday with us and for supporting our work. I urge you all to continue that support. While the occupation has frequently been a topic of conversation in recent weeks, much of the world is turning away given the recent ceasefire. Yet despite that ceasefire, the occupation and the dire conditions in Gaza that we discussed continue. The siege on Gaza continues, and people in Gaza will continue to struggle through extreme instability and scarcity, as they have for decades. So I hope you all will continue to get involved. You can do so in a number of ways. You can get in contact with your local representatives or congresspeople, depending on where you are, and leverage your power as a constituent. You do have real power over the people that represent you, and I urged you all to call, email, educate, pester those representatives, and inform them about what's going on and the fact that they need to take a stand on these issues. You can also volunteer your time with Combatants for Peace or other organizations looking to end the occupation. Please do reach out to the email address listed in the chat if you would like to be involved in our online engagement group. We would love to have you join our community and share your perspective and whatever resources or help you would like to suggest. And lastly, I would like to ask you to contribute to our work if you're able. Our movement is growing very quickly, and anything you can give to sustain it is both deeply needed and deeply appreciated. Especially now, more than ever, as we reckon with the fallout of the recent violence, we could really use your assistance in helping to support our activists and amplify our call for peace and for an end to the occupation, so that that call and coverage doesn't just die out now that the recent violence has ended. So I hope you all will continue to be engaged with these issues, and you will earnestly consider and share what you heard today. And lastly, I hope you will all join us at our upcoming event on Thursday, the 27th. We'll be discussing the recent book release of one of our founders, Suli Khatib, and you can register for that event online at our website. So I hope those are a few helpful and actionable steps that you guys can take away from our discussion today, and help support our work and help support everyone living in Gaza. And I hope you'll join us at another event soon. Thanks so much for joining.